Obviously, we've been talking about rural electrification in Nigeria for many, many, many years. How much benefits or fruit have we seen in that? Let's see if this will be different. And we have the country director of that company that's partnering the Rural Electrification Agency, that's Husk Power Systems. The country director is right here with us, Mr. Oluwarike, joins us in the studio. Mr. Arike, good afternoon, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me.
Great. So, well, the truth is, this doesn't come as a big news to a lot of Nigerians, and that's because, I mean, we have Siemens projects that is supposed to give us power. How many years is that now? And we don't see anything. So a lot of people will ask, so why is this different? How is this really going to be implemented to actually touch the life of the people? You're talking of mini grids and all of that. So you are the one in partnership with the federal government. Tell us how this is supposed to work.
I think for us, this is reaffirming our commitment to the country. Nigeria is the world's largest off-grid market, meaning we have the most people without reliable access from any grid. Right, and 2 years ago we made the similar commitments, and last year the Africa Climate Summit we also expanded on that commitment. I think coming out now and boldly saying that 250 megawatts of power is what Husk will commit to generate and distribute within Nigeria means that we are now very much more consistent with our reaffirmations and commitments to the country. Question, do mini grids work? Yes, they do. We are now over 20 plus mini grids in Nasarawa State and expanding to other states within North Central Nigeria in the next few months. And the goal here is to ensure that we do our part in ensuring that Nigeria's power deficit issues are resolved or go away. You know, there's been so much talk, like you said, and things not being actioned, but we want to be at the forefront. You know, there's a solar revolution or renewable energy revolution going on. The REA for the last few years has been very, very deep in implementing a lot of policies and actions to ensure that more and more Nigerians come out of energy access deficit. And we want to support that. That is what we are saying essentially.
So obviously, I mean, you're from the private sector.
Yes.
You're in this for business.
Yes.
I mean, let's not play around that. So tell us how this works. Who gets the funding or who brings the funding? Who deals with the infrastructure? Who builds it? And then how do we get the people? Because I'm sure the people will have to pay for this electricity at some point. Help us understand that.
Currently, we're powering just over 5,000 customers across our 20 plus mini grids.
What areas are those?
Nasarawa State.
Nasarawa State.
Yeah, and shout out to Nasarawa State. They've been very, very supportive, created enabling environment for our business to thrive. Now, as a company, we've raised last year's Series D of funding, just over $100 million to be able to deploy this infrastructure.
Sorry, when you say you've raised funds, is that as an investment from the private sector? Is that from the REA?
It is totally our own investors, private investors, you know, of course.
Private investors in Husk.
Yes, private investors in Husk, but of course REA has its programs that it runs to support for developers or companies like ourselves in doing what we do. But as a private organization, we've also been able to raise our own funding. And with that funding, we're able to build, own and operate our own mini grids. What it means is that we'll put the infrastructure there, we own the assets, and then we'll go ahead to operate it to ensure that our customers have reliable power. And with that, so it's a, brief description is a plant, and then of course is a distribution network within a small community of say 3 to 5 kilometers stretch. And then we go ahead to meter the customer. So there's a lot of transparency. Smart metering, we use smart metering solutions that ensure customers only use what they pay for, right? And that's how it works. So we've essentially created a power system that works. But beyond that, we're also interested in what services in those communities that the power that we provide can support. So we are more or less an energy services company providing power, and on top of that, supporting healthcare, agro-processing, e-mobility, and even irrigation and other services to ensure that these communities are using power for the right things to ensure to make their communities continue to grow.
Yeah. All right, so it's good that at least you're already working, so you can tell us the reality of it. And I say that because a lot of the discourse at this time say that a lot of Nigerians do not really want to pay for electricity. And then Nigerians, on the other hand, would say, well, we can't pay for what we don't see. So which one comes first? Do we pay for you to have the money to provide the electricity, or do you provide the electricity, then we cannot provide? What has been your experience when it comes to issues of power theft and payment of bills?
I mean, if we're still screaming up NEPA at this point, then this must be a very, very tough job. And it is. But it is also exciting. I think the gap, or we think the gap that is existing is more or less a breach of trust, right? Because customers expect some level of service, but they do not say it. And someone is saying, you have to pay me, right? So that breach of trust is why the circle continues to go. The discourse are saying we need to be paid, for what we do. Customers are saying, I'm not paying you because you're not doing what I need you to do. So I think it's, and how we've bypassed that is ensuring that every customer is metered from the beginning. So there's I didn't provide you power. You are using only what you pay for. And you are sure, essentially, that if you are paying for this amount of service, you are getting it. And if you're not getting it for some reason, we are quick to let you know why. And also ensure that our resolution timelines are typically between 120 to 180 minutes for basic customer issues. And we are so embedded in these communities that the engagement is continuous. It's like a small child and telling them I'm bringing power where they've never had power before, and then trying to teach them how to use it, what to expect, and what we also expect from you. So that engagement continues to go on. But that is only the difference between us and the discourse, where there has been maybe a gap in communication or engagement, and because of that, trust has broken down, but it can be easily rebuilt if we are very, very intentional. Okay,
so I presume you use the prepaid meters?
Yes.
And your customers also do what the Disco's prepaid meters do, which is they fill a card and all of that.
So I think Husk is a bit different. Technology. I mean, we are more tech-driven, I would say. These meters are very smart. A lot of remote monitoring going on, and I think we are. Our customers, and one thing we try to do for our customers is convenience. I would not like a customer to wake up in the middle of the night to step outside to start to key in a token on a meter. So we've integrated technology to ensure that payments happen, and then within minutes you get your power without doing anything much, right? Without going to press a token or even see your CIO, because tech has taught us that these things are possible these days. And if we are using smart meters, then we can integrate. If we have smart meters, and we have in this country 2 unicorn fintech companies who have leveraged tech to scale, then we should also be leveraging the same things to provide convenience for these customers. And that's what we've done. As Husk.
These meters, are they Nigeria-made, imported? We're also trying to grow the domestic, local
absolutely,
market.
Absolutely. The meters right now are imported, but we see a pathway for local manufacturing to step in here. And we're also willing to support that because we understand.
We do have a lot of meters manufacturers in Nigeria. Is it that they haven't been able to meet your specifics, or you have just not approached them?
I mean, for mini grids, right, which are different from discos, we operate in last mile areas. So how many times am I going to be able to go there? So I need a very efficient and reliable metering solution that ensures that 90% of the time I can remotely do support the running of the site rather than being there, right? So those are the kind of meters we look for. And if there's any local meter that can do that, of course we want to talk to that person. But what I can tell you today is that the support that we get from the financial service it's not imported. It is fully Nigerian, a fully Nigerian company. I want to find a way to integrate, more Nigerian tech companies who can support what we're doing.
I think this is a challenge to our Nigerian meter providers. I know I've had conversation with some of meter manufacturers in Nigeria, and they've said, well, it seems sometimes they are being overlooked. So this is a challenge for you to meet up with this demand, with the specifics, to meet up with this new MOU signed by REA and Husk, and this should be one market for you. So, we have to get that out, because these things are all connected.
Yes,
we're talking of high demand for FX. And then a country like yours, a company like yours, it still has need for FX. Do you understand? So if we have that sorted out within the country, that's some of those demand reduced.
Absolutely. I think we're also very, very interested in supporting local manufacturing at any level. So if these things can be done here, why not? And if we see the opportunity to, work with people who want to do it locally and ensure that they're getting it right, we would do that. We're willing to also be able to support them for pilot projects and things like that. Yeah.
Sounds good. So I'd like to know, you've talked about how your operations are in Nasarawa at this time.
Yep.
Is it the REA that chooses the states you work with? Do you approach states, government, or how does it work for you, to know what state you're going to go to?
I think, firstly, we're a private business, but the guidance for what we do as a, building mini grids is from NEC, the mini grid regulations of 2016, which is now the mini grid regulations of 2023, recently revised, is what the guidelines say. So, and it is clear what the approach is to approach maybe a community or a number of communities and tell them what to do and where to go from there. However, we always know that there has to be a lot of stakeholder engagement and management. We went into Nasarawa as strangers, right? But today, I can tell you, I am partly from Nasarawa, but we went into Nasarawa and had to do a lot of engagement to even understand where we're going, who's there, who are the people that are the gatekeepers that we need to speak to and let them know our mission. Who are the people who can support us? And of course, the state government does a great job of ensuring that they have various agencies and ministries that you could go to for various things. In Nasarawa's case, NACIDA, who is the investment development agency, has acted as a one-stop shop for any investor or any private company like ourselves to come into the states and let them know our intentions, and they can point on in the right directions. It's the same method with every other state.
What's your next stop? What states?
In the next few months, Plateau, which is very, very close to Nasarawa, is the next state for us.
The insecurity is not a deterring factor for you.
We've
had a lot of bad news.
Yes. There's a lot of bad news from everywhere, right? I usually say Nigeria, and growing up here, has had its own phases of insecurity. At some point, it was the South-South. At some point, it was the Southeast. But the fact remains that our people are living without power. We cannot abandon duty because there is insecurity. We will do what we can do to be secure, to secure our people and assets. But we have to do this, because if we don't, then who will? That is the truth.
If you don't take care of them, who will?
Yes.
Then I'm also interested in businesses. It's part of what's supposed to be your focus.
Yes.
Especially small businesses.
Right.
Do you have packages or small packages for processing zones, and places like that? Because if we really want to make a direct impact, households are important, but also those small businesses really need power.
No, so we, as part of this commitment or MOU with the REA, there's a portion of this that will be commercial and industrial, right? As a company, we want to also support, commercial and industrial hubs or companies, standalone companies that are into several businesses, from agro-processing to manufacturing. Every business that needs power. We're also keen to support healthcare, and we've also already started doing that, because you look at it and say, a healthy nation is a wealthy nation, really. And if we are providing power to people without powering where they go when they're ill, then it's a gap. If we're also not powering where they go on a day-to-day to work or to get their income, there's a gap. So we want to ensure that, that cycle of, what we call a platform approach of supporting whatever electricity or energy can support is how we approach our business, essentially, yes.
All right, interesting. And we do hope this will be different, from other projects we've heard of. We know you're active now. You just signed the MOU, I think yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yes, yesterday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we hope that by this time next year, you will be glad when we call you to say, come and give us an update.
I mean, you heard the acting MD for the IRA, Engineer Abalio. He said in his statement that maybe we should even take this to 500 megawatts. And I looked and said, so the what you have here is one a private sector player and one a government institution that are both visionary in what we want to do. At Husk, we already own the largest fleet of mini grids of any company in the world. We are also the first mini grid company to be a bit profitable 2 years ago. So we are very, very deliberate. What we've just done here is reaffirming our commitment to Nigeria and Nigerians to ensure that we will continue to do what we have to power as many Nigerians as we can, as many households as we can, as many healthcare centers and businesses and commercial institutions as we can, for economies to begin to spring up and thrive. This is our goal, essentially.
All right, we look forward to that being achieved. Thank you so much, Country Director of Nigeria, Husk Power Systems, Mr. Oluwarike, for your time.
Thank you.